जैसे कांच में चूड़ी के टुकड़े, जैसे खिले खिले फूलों के मुखड़े, जैसे बंसी कोई बजाए पेड़ों के तले। ये तो झोंके हैं पवन के ये तो सुर है चमन के, खो न जाए तारे ज़मीं पर।
What you saw is a scene from the Bollywood film Like Stars on Earth. The man in this scene is an art teacher, Ram Shankar. Ram is on the bus going to visit the family of a little boy, Ishan Awasti. The Awasti family consists of his father, mother, and brother, Johan. While Johan excels in his studies, Ishan has failed third grade twice. The central narrative is Ishan's frustration and inability to deliver the good grades and disciplined behavior expected by his parents and teachers. Not knowing his struggle to read and write are due to dyslexia, Ishan is shipped off to a boarding school. Near the middle of the film, a temporary art teacher who has a personal understanding of dyslexia joins the school. Having lived in India for 6 months, I am attracted to Indian films. This film is a cross-cultural celebration of creativity and individuality as masculinity not seen in Indian or American cinema. I have seen Like Stars on Earth over 20 times. It was not until reading this section on masculinities that I saw the male teacher as masculine. Rogers mentioned that nature is made absent through representation in advertising. Though represented on screen, the masculinity in this film was absent. I feel my own culture's construction of masculinity may have prevented me from seeing Ram as masculine. Ram models a form of masculinity not glorified in American or Indian culture. The scene you saw at the beginning is a metonymy of the kind of masculinity Ram portrays through the film. Like Stars on Earth portrays masculinity that is caring, supportive, emotional, and considerate of others. Now that you know a little bit about the film, let's look at how hegemonic masculinity, multiple masculinities, and nonverbal communication are portrayed in the film. Ishan's frustration at being unable to read, write, and recognize letters causes feelings of inadequacy, and Ishan grows unruly and undisciplined. Ishan is constantly sent out of class for making pranks or not being able to read. He loses his exam papers, skips classes, and starts fights with boys in the neighborhood. Katz mentions that male feelings of inadequacy and the crisis of masculinity draw men into hegemonic masculinity and aggressive behavior. Exploring hegemonic masculinity, Ishan resorts to acting out and physical violence to compensate for feelings of inadequacy. Ishan uses his physical strength and resorts to hegemonic masculinity to overcompensate for feelings of inadequacy. Tough Guys mentions that the vulnerable, compassionate, and caring man is a real man as well. Let's now consider how these multiple masculinities are represented in the film. Like Stars on Earth, Ram's character is an art teacher. He has dyslexia. Ram uses his personal experience with dyslexia to help Ishan see that he is a bright and creative student. Ram starts with educating Ishan and his classmates on the great men who have struggled with reading and writing. We are presented with masculinity as educator, advocate, and mentor. Ram portrays masculinity that values creativity and imagination. When he meets his students for the first time, he tells them to draw. One student asks, "What should we draw, sir? There's nothing on the table." Ram replies that the world inside their head is much too big to fit on a table. He encourages his students to reach inside and draw from their intuition, their heart, and their imagination. The teacher helps Ishan learn about how to cope with dyslexia. Therefore, Ishan does not need to resort to hegemonic masculinity to overcompensate for feelings of inadequacy, thus learning multiple masculinities. Let's now review the nonverbal communication in the film. Reflect back on the opening scene when Ram is helping the mother with her baby. Supportive and affectionate nonverbal masculinity are being portrayed in the film. The first scene you saw was the character Ram sitting on a public bus. The child and woman next to him are not part of the storyline. Ram in the scene with the baby is smiling, attentive, and his hand holds the baby's head in a gentle, protective way. His care and affection toward the baby and his ability to cross the gender lines to help the mother with her child reflects supportive nonverbal masculinity. This film portrays positive nonverbal masculine communication, portrays how easily a young boy can enter into hegemonic masculinity, and shows viewers multiple masculinities. Like Stars on Earth is a cross-cultural celebration of masculinity as creative and a celebration of individuality not often represented in media. In an effort to make multiple masculinities as mentor, educator, and advocate visible, I wanted to share Like Stars on Earth.